Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. This fall, my aunt and uncle invited my mom and I to go on a trip to New England where we visited the states of Connecticut, Vermont, and Massachusetts. The Northeast is known for its beautiful autumn colors during the months of September and October, and we wanted to go up there and see the fall foliage for ourselves. For the first 2 days of the trip, we stayed in New Haven, Connecticut, where my uncle grew up when he was young. We actually got in the night before, but it was a long day of travel, so I'm just gonna count the second day as our first official day. We ate breakfast at a place near our hotel called Grace's Restaurant, and after that we drove through town where my uncle showed us the neighborhood he grew up in. It was so interesting to see the old styles of houses of the Northeast compared to what I see here in Texas. They look so colonial, and it's amazing to see how well people have preserved these houses of many decades. We took our time to look at the churches and old schools and see what the town had to offer. After that, we went to Lighthouse Point Park to get some fresh ocean air. The lighthouse here is from 1847, and a lot of people also come to this park for bird watching. On day 2, we hit the road for Vermont, but before that, we had to stop in downtown New Haven for some A pizza. This is New Haven's style of thin crust, coal-fired Neapolitan pizza that originated at this very restaurant, Frank Pepe. We also made a quick stop at the beautiful Connecticut State Capitol in Hartford. Welcome to Vermont! We drove about an hour and 40 minutes from Hartford to Wilmington, Vermont, which is where we stayed for the duration of our time there. As soon as we crossed the Vermont state line, we could already see the changing colors of the trees. This is the town we stayed in. It's a very cute small town with inns, restaurants, and shops for people to relax in and enjoy the scenery. This little country store had all kinds of souvenirs, food items, toys, and homemade desserts for us to buy. My family and I stayed at the Vermont house, which you can see here on the right. It's conveniently located right in the middle of town, so all the restaurants and shops are just within walking distance. The room we stayed in was super spacious and clean. We paid $561 for 3 nights for a room with a queen-size bed and a pull-out sofa. We love this place and definitely recommend it if you're looking for a place to stay in Vermont that's convenient, relaxing, and has beautiful scenery. On day 3, we started off the morning eating breakfast at Dot's restaurant, which is where we went to eat breakfast almost every day. We dedicated the day to exploring the surrounding area, and we spent a few hours driving through what is considered the Green Mountain National Forest. We discovered that the farther north we drove, the trees were a little greener, so for this year, Wilmington seemed to be the best place to stay to see the fall foliage. Just look at how gorgeous this view is. For dinner, we stopped in a small town called Manchester and ended our day there. For the fourth day, we wanted to get some good pictures in the vibrant colors, so we went to a nearby state park that was absolutely gorgeous. The weather was a bit rainy pretty much the whole time we were there, but that's okay because it just made the trees even more rich and colorful. There was such a drastic change in colors from the first day we were there to the last day. Thank you, Vermont, for the nice time we had in your state. We've now reached the last stretch of our trip. For the last few days of vacation, we headed to Massachusetts to stay with my aunt's friends who live in Cape Cod. The drive from Wilmington to Hyannis was about 3.5 hours, but before we reached their house, we stopped for some delicious seafood at Fisherman's View restaurant. We enjoyed a nice meal with an ocean view and ordered lobster, crab, and fish and chips. I usually don't like eating seafood much when I'm back in Texas, but all the seafood we ate in the Northeast was so fresh and delicious. Probably some of the best I've had in my life. We spent the rest of day 5 relaxing and getting settled in, but on day 6, my mom and I decided we wanted to visit Boston for a day. At 8 a.m., we took the Plymouth and Brockton bus from Hyannis to South Station in downtown, which was about an hour and 50 minutes. It was very easy and there was a bus that left every hour. The round trip total for each person was around $48. Since we didn't have too much time to spend in Boston, we decided to do a hop-on, hop-off trolley tour that took you to all the major sightseeing points in the city. It was $45 per person, but it was a great decision because we got to see almost everything we wanted to see within 7 or so hours. Our first stop was at Long Wharf. It was a beautiful day outside and we walked around for a couple of minutes to enjoy the nice weather. We then walked over to Faneuil Hall where we grabbed a quick bite to eat. Built in 1742, it served then and now as a marketplace and meeting hall. Above here, it says this building has served the people of Boston as the central market of the city since its dedication in August 1826. At the next stop, we walked a little of the Freedom Trail to go see Paul Revere's house. Unfortunately, there were a lot of people and we didn't get to see the inside, but it was still very cool to be able to see the house of a patriot from the American Revolution. At the third stop, the trolley dropped us off to see the USS Constitution warship. It is the world's oldest warship that's still afloat today. The ship is most known for her duties in the War of 1812 where she defeated 5 British warships. This is the old State House where the Declaration of Independence was first read. When in Boston, you have to see Harvard, and it was a great bonus that I was able to visit one of my longtime friends who I haven't been able to see since before the pandemic. Thanks for showing us around, Joel. Alright, welcome to day 7. As I mentioned before, we stayed in Cape Cod with my aunt's friends John and Shauna, and for our 7th day they took us on a ferry ride to Martha's Vineyard. It's a very popular summer vacation spot where people come to bike ride and relax. This is also where the clothing store Vineyard Vines originated and where they shot a scene from the movie Jaws. We stopped here midday to have a picnic. Aren't they so cute? And before we went home, we went to see what are called the gingerbread houses. They're so adorable and look like they came straight from a fairy tale. I'm obsessed. We had a great time exploring the island in the perfect weather. Finally, we're on the last day of our vacation. We took it easy and John took us to the fish market in Chatham just in time to see the boats come in from their daily catch. I love seeing the seals swimming around and the seagulls hovering over the boats. This might have been my favorite part of the whole trip. We ended the day by going to see the Kennedy compound where President John F. Kennedy used to live and had a delicious lobster meal at home. Thank you to my aunt and uncle for inviting us on this trip and to John and Shauna for your kindness while hosting us. It was a lot of fun.